So now we're going to get into graphing a horizontal translation. We did a vertical translation, vertical shift. Now we're going to do a horizontal shift. I kind of prefer the word shift. That's kind of what I'll be using, and that crosses into if you move and do like the pre-calc trio or the duo at Butte, or if you do pre-calc with me, we'll most likely use shift instead of translation. So let's go ahead and label our points out. So we've got an A of 5, a B of 1/2, which means our period is 2 pi over 1/2. To get rid of that fraction, you multiply both by 2 over 1, and that gives us a 4 pi. And then our H is, once again, ignore the negative, it is just 3 pi. It's one of those where it's the opposite of that you see. So you see negative 3 pi, you write 3 pi. And this is going to be in the right direction, 3 pi units. So instead of starting at 0, we're starting at 3 pi. All right, so we don't have a K, so we're not shifting up and down. I'm going to go ahead and start this table now. Over here in the corner, I'm going to write out the cosine, the original that we take all our translations from. 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1. So that's what we're starting with. And if you see, we have two things affecting our x values. First, we have, let's see, let me erase. There we go. First, we have this shift. So that means we are shifting our points 3 pi over. So instead of starting at 0, we're starting at 3 pi. And then our last point isn't 2 pi added to that, and it's not just 2 pi. If you see, our period is 4 pi long, so that means we need to add 4 pi, and we're going to end at 7 pi, which means that we've got a 5 pi in the middle, 4 pi, and then 6 pi. And those are some nice numbers that we're actually working with. Oops, x and y. Okay, hopefully you saw that. I took my B is my first point. Sorry, my H is my first point. And now if you don't see an H, it's just 0. So you do H for your first point, and then H plus your period to get your 5th point. That is important because that's going to be 3 pi plus 4 pi is 7 pi, and that's our last point. And then we cut it up equally in the middle after that. So that's everything affecting the x, and all we have left is this a value that we're multiplying our y by. So 1 times 5 is 5, 0 times 5 is 0, negative 5, 0, and 5. And those are our 5 points. Bring it in the graph, and we'll go ahead and graph it. So if you can see that this one is shifted to the right 3 units. So we're going to have to make sure to get 3 to 7 units on here, or 3 to 7 pi on here. So I'll call that pi, 2 pi, I knew I was going to run out, but and we'll call that 7 pi on the end. So we'll go off the graph. That was just one marking off. All right, and then counting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and there's all the pieces we need to label. So we're going to go ahead. 3 pi 5 is where we're starting. Don't start at 0, you guys, because that doesn't work this way. We're just looking at this horizontal shift, so we're seeing where it's located, that starting point for us to graph. Okay. And this is a slow, stretched out graph. It's going half the speed of the original. It's stretched by 5, and it's shifted over 3 units. Now, if we were to continue this back, obviously you would see it would come back down and come back. But in this case, we're just graphing one period, and there's that one.